Hey everyone, Logan and I are back to talk about the latest chapter of My Hero Academia. Join the discussion by leaving a comment and let us know what your take would be. Spoiler warning, this video will cover chapter 305 of My Hero Academia. If you enjoy these videos, please help support the channel by leaving a like and subscribing to Texas Smash. Hit the bell icon and turn on all notifications so that you can be sure to catch us every time a new chapter is released. Let's nerd out together. We have been talking My Hero with this guy for quite a while in Discord. Also, he's one of the 5 voters for the currently ongoing series My Hero Madness right here on Texas Smash. Today, we're excited to welcome Tyler to the channel to discuss chapter 305 with us. We pick up right where we left off last week, with Nana asking Deku if he could kill Tamura. She tells him this is not a request, but more of a test of his will. She adds that the vestiges are able to feel the same feelings that Deku has, so they're aware of how Deku wanted to save Tamura the last time he was in the vestige world. Lariat chimes in that maybe not all the vestiges feel the same way and share Deku's opinion about it being worthwhile to try and save someone like Tamura. The first holder says that he is confident that it's just All for One's latest attempt at actually taking One for All by using Tamura's hatred and taking advantage of Deku's reluctance to kill. The first also reminds Deku of the original purpose of One for All, about how it's to destroy All for One. At this point, Nana tells Deku that she hates that the results of her choices have caused her mistake to be Deku's problem. She explains her fear that Tamura may simply be unsavable and become the manifestation of pure evil. She says nothing will be able to stop what comes next if this happens, and asks Deku if he has the will required to stop Tamura at all cost. Deku elaborates on how he felt Tamura's pain during their most recent attack on the Vestige world. He says he could feel what Tamura felt, and what Tamura was feeling was like a crying child. Deku gave examples of villains he fought prior, who were set in their ways, but admits that if he had the chance to learn their motivations and why they became villains, then things might have turned out differently. Deku concludes by stressing the fact that while One for All may have had a singular purpose in the beginning to kill All for One, the purpose of One for All has evolved, and that One for All is a power to save people, not to kill. He praises the previous holders for their role in cultivating the quirk and admits that he hasn't really thought about what he would do if he couldn't save Shigaraki, but he just wants to try to save him first. Deku passes the test of morality. Nana asks Deku to tell Gran Torino hi. The first user turns to the second and third, and the chapter closes with the first saying, "How about you guys chime in and help us out so that Deku knows what to expect of the rest of your guys' quirks." Let's say all the way up to where Nana says, can you tell me that you have the will required to stop him at all costs? You could pretty much summarize the first half of the chapter that way.
Yeah. I mean, it's just cool to get to see them all together still, and that the chapter's starting out right at in the vestige world still, and we're not having to wait or jump to something else, and then you're getting a better look again of the second user. We'll go into the theory of that later, but then on top of that,
Right.
just having Shigaraki, I think it's weird that I don't understand why he's a butterfly necessarily. He's coming out of his cocoon.
I
Kinda
think
creepy looking.
I know for a fact we saw this at least once before. I want to say it's around the time where we got his backstory, Tamura's backstory. We saw him
Mhm.
with those butterfly wings before.
Mm.
Yeah, that is cool. Second and third, which is towards the end of the chapter. I guess one thing though we could do, I think this would be cool. Let's say you're in Deku's shoes and they ask you this very question. I mean, I'll be honest, I kind of agree with Lariat. I think a lot of people were kind of turned off whenever Deku felt like he needed to save Tamura. So if you're Deku, how do you answer this question? Would you kill Tamura without a second thought?
This
Probably.
is what he said is exactly what I thought he was gonna say, and I thought Nana being that it was more of just a test, I thought that as well. I was like, she doesn't actually want him to kill him if
You did say that last week.
it is Deku. That's for me, I expected that, and I'm glad that's what he said, so
But what do you think personally?
I mean, if I was a hero, then yes, I would wanna always try to save the person no matter what.
What you got, Tyler? How would you answer?
I wouldn't try to kill him. I'd try to protect him.
Ah, okay, so okay, let's look at Hawks. Hawks had to kill twice for the greater good. He had to kill somebody. He didn't want to, but he had
Mhm.
the resolve to do it. And think about how many people. I don't know. You're just looking at Tamura. sad story. I just kind of feel like you got to do what needs to be done sometimes, which,
And I
that
agree
might.
with you. I just think like if it was all for one, yes, kill him. He's pure evil. There is no saving him. Could definitely I feel like Deku should and can kill him. But Tamora still has that piece of him that could be saved.
Hmm. All
True.
right. All right. I still sticking with my answer. I kind of, I'm gonna be Hawks
Yeah.
in this situation. I would say, out of the villains that Deku's referencing, I feel like he did genuinely. Maybe that's why they have their own separate panel. He did influence Gentle and La Brava. I feel like he didn't have any. He didn't change how Stain already felt, or Overhaul, or Muscular. But Gentle and La Brava, I feel like he did impact positively,
He saved him.
which is a perfect example of knowing their motivations and pinpointing exactly why they became villains.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Because those are examples where he said he never had the opportunity to explore their motivations, so he did what he had to do. So I guess, yeah, he's kind of saying, like, if push comes to shove, if there's no choice. At least I hope that's what he means. Do you guys notice how, as Deku's talking here, uh, countless people died. However, look at his face as these panels progress. One for All is a power to save people, not to kill. If you kind of look at the mist, it's starting to come off of him. And then go down to the next page. Well, there's that collage behind All Might, but then after that, his face becomes more and more clear. I guess the point I'm trying to make is Deku is almost materializing in the vestige world as his passion grows about what he's talking about. It's like the greater his resolve, I feel like that's what's making him have a presence.
Yep. Agreed.
Because he's talking about trying to save and how much it means to him. And that's coincidentally, like, look, you see his mouth for the first time.
And then you get the shot of All Might crying.
Oh, dude, that was sad. That was super sad. And especially, I don't want to get too cheesy, but like, I'm a dad, and it's almost like he's like just felt so proud of his. I mean, I know it's not All Might's not his dad, but All Might just felt so proud of Deku, man. That was a good
Well,
panel, man.
it's almost like he knew he picked the right successor.
That
He's
and the level
making
of,
him proud.
yeah, right, both of those things together. I didn't tear up. I didn't tear up. I don't know about you guys.
I'm just
Uh,
waiting. I'm just thinking in the anime too. When this is going to be animated, I probably will shed a tear.
yeah, I will too. But in
Yeah,
the manga, I didn't really be like, eh.
yeah.
But if it was
I
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
animated,
so.
me neither. What are y'all
Okay.
talking about?
Going back to the panel, also the words like there's a parentheses at on the first one, and when he's talking before, but then it goes away as he does come clear. So yeah, I think you're definitely right that he's talking about his, passion and what drives him definitely is making him appear, which is cool.
Yeah. This was a sad. I mean, as far as manga chapters go, honestly, I felt like this one was one of the saddest chapters in a while because then we already talked about All Might, and then you got Nana who is over here like she just used it as a test to see where Deku's mind was at, but she still had to kind of, bring up a sensitive subject.
Right.
So seeing her crying a whole different type of sadness in the same chapter.
It's a very emotional chapter. Goodness.
Yeah, the All Might one definitely got me worse than Nana, but Nana's was definitely sad too.
Yeah.
All right. And then what you got on the final what you got, Tyler? On the final, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 panels. The one where All for One's little brother turns around. So how about you guys chime in and help us out?
The one last thing about Nana, she tells Deku when he wakes up to say hi to Gran Torino. I thought that was really sweet, and it's cool that she knows that he's still alive. Just a cool little tidbit at the end.
Yeah, I don't like that he's alive personally, but
I remember that. You want him to
I
die.
mean,
I get it.
he got
He's old.
he's old and he got impaled by Tamura. I mean, come on. I guess we'll move on to theories unless there's anything you want to say about the last few panels that aren't a theory. I said that funny.
I mean, yeah. And then the last panel, it's just cool that we are finally, the second and third user are being addressed by the first user. So hopefully next chapter we get the big reveal. That's all I got.
Okay. There's no break next week, so we'll see you guys back with this next Friday. The teaser for next chapter is The World Enters into a New Stage. Stick around after the outro song if you want to hear us talk about some theories.
Ready for theory time?
Okay, let's do it. So I know, Tyler, what did you want to say about the second user? About him being Bakugo or not being Bakugo?
So I thought it was Bakugo at first, so I read up a little bit more. Bakugo in earlier chapters didn't really like Deku as much. Further chapters in, you could tell that Bakugo is really trying to become more friendly with Deku. So my theory is what I think that is not Bakugo, because why would Bakugo be facing away from Deku when he's trying to become more friendly with him? That's what I have to say. But I want to hear what Loken has to say first, because I know
Okay,
you
cool.
wanted something.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that. I was really curious of why you didn't think so anymore, which I get that reason, and that makes sense. However, this Bakugo is not the same Bakugo we're currently understanding. We don't know this Bakugo, what happened in his timeline. I know people say that everything has to happen the same way over and over, but the cause of Bakugo to go back is got to be different. So I'm sure he's from a dystopian world, and who knows how that Deku was. So this Bakugo, I still understand why he would be facing away. I'm not saying that they weren't necessarily close, but he, to me, could be that he still doesn't know whether or not Deku is strong enough and is the rightful one to be the final holder of One for All. So I still get why he's being facing away, and I'm still sticking with it that is Bakugo. There's just too many similarities. We got another panel of even more clear with the support items, and for me, I still think so. I think it's cool that we're getting why they're not facing Deku, but I still could understand. And the second user is someone Bakugo picked. I feel like they both have the same mindset, and so to me, it still could be a time travel Bakugo thing.
Actually, you know what? I do agree with you a little bit. Just because in the earlier panels, if you look at, like you said, the support items, it 100% looks like Bakugo. And just the hair looks like Bakugo as well.
Super hardcore looks. And if it's not, it'll be, it's like, what? Then who the heck are they? Like, are they that? I know that they were a holder of One for All, but are you that important that and arrogant? To me, it's almost disrespectful for them to not want to face Deku. It almost seems like a Bakugo thing, like, oh, I'm not gonna face you. I'm stubborn. Like, I don't know. And I'm really the only other thing is I'm wondering. I'm really hoping that we'll see him next chapter. I'm wondering, do y'all think we will?
I think we
No.
will. No, I think we will.
Cool.
I think, no, we see Deku start to deteriorate at the end. Right after he materializes, uh, they're all pleased with the way Deku responded, and then you see Deku like surprised at how the mist is taking him over. And then the next panel, it's almost got all of them. I think he's waking up.
I
So
don't
you
think
think you
so.
think I think they're gonna start facing him, and then he's just gonna
Mm.
wake up. But it's gonna be like
Mm.
that.
Yep.
I think we're done with the vestige. Next chapter is back to reality.
No,
I think so,
don't
man.
put that out there.
Well,
Gun.
the root of the question, in my opinion,
Mhm.
is why. How can we be so sure exactly why they're not turning around? Because a theory I saw that I liked was if you think about the time frame that these two are from, it could be a situation. All for One just took over. There was no real heroes at that time. It was a lot darker time, where it was more violent back then. You get where I'm going with this? So maybe they don't like Deku's answer. They think, no, you need to be prepared to kill him. And since Deku's trying to save him, they're annoyed by that fact. So they don't feel like he deserves their power.
I saw that theory as well.
I
So
get that. Like it's a sound theory as well. But
I don't know. I kind of like that one personally, honestly. I'm gonna say that I do not think it's Bakugo. And I don't think I'm going to say number 2 and 3 are not people that we know today. It is possible they could be a relative, maybe, but Ida, Bakugo, whoever.
mhm.
I don't think we know these people today. 2 or 3. What if the thing that pushes Deku over the edge is whenever Tamura ultimately kills All Might, and Deku for the first time is dealing with as much hatred as he's ever dealt with, and that's what finally awakens these quirks is because Deku finally has the malice that he needs that he doesn't have any of right now, and that's what finally gets these guys to snap out of it. I don't think it's someone we know, man. I don't think it's someone we know. Two new people that just
Bro,
don't
you
like
think
how soft-hearted Deku is. That's what's going on.
That seems way more lame to me though than the time travel thing.
Hmm.
Just in my opinion, I'm just like, oh, I just meant like anticlimactic. I said it earlier. It's just very blah. Like, oh, okay, cool. You don't like Deku. Boo hoo. Like, whatever. I just don't. It's not very like, whoa, that's why they're not visible because they didn't like Deku. Whoa, crazy. That's just how I'm seeing it.
Well,
okay, I
here's
have a
another
question for you
thing.
guys.
Hmm.
For the
I'm
third
gonna
user, do
go
you
ahead.
guys
Go
think
ahead.
it's Ida? Do you guys think it's Ida or Kirishima for the third user?
Okay, so and I mean it kind of sucks to say it, but with again seeing his support item, I am gonna say that it's not Ida. That the third user is someone we don't know. And the only reason why he's not facing Deku is because the second user isn't facing him.
Well, here's a good question for you. Why would the first user turn around and say, "How about you guys chime in and help us out now?" If the first user knew that these two people, or even if one of the two people traveled through time in order to affect the timeline in such a way, wouldn't he be like, oh, they probably know when they need to speak up because they're here for a specific purpose? Why would he be like, hey, shouldn't you guys chime in now? Why would he throw him
Well,
under the bus like that?
I still think these are also not the official translation. So I want to wait for that and see what it actually says. But
Okay, okay. Well, let's say that this is accurate.
mhm.
Then what do you think about why would All for One's little brother, you know, why would he call him out like that?
Because I mean, uh,
I got you.
I'm thinking. Hold on.
What you
I'm gonna
think,
come
Tyler?
up with a reason.
What you think, Tyler?
Oh, I'm waiting for him to answer. They
Oh,
got
you
one.
don't want to answer either.
No. I'm thinking too. There we go. Well, what do you think? Or did you already say what you thought?
Well, that's kind of why I'm bringing it up. It
Um,
supports my case that I don't think either one of these guys are people we know. Therefore, I'm saying I don't think there's time travel involved here, honestly.
Understand that, but him saying that also it doesn't necessarily mean that. I think you're trying to push something and imply it, but the way he's addressing them isn't necessarily to me throwing them under the bus or anything. He's just addressing them and telling them, "Hey, turn around. Now's the time."
Point is, if I'm the second holder and I come to you, the first holder, and say, "Hey, I'm from the future. I'm here to correct something." Uh, why would you, the first holder, then later tell somebody or tell me when to talk to somebody that I'm specifically trying to hide from?
Because this is a total new timeline. So maybe they were just waiting. That's what they needed to know is Deku's resolve. So he's like, "Hey, you got your answer. So how about y'all chime in now?" Like,
Hmm.
if it is time travel, it's a whole new timeline. So it doesn't. This Bakugo wouldn't know. It's not down to science as when he would need to turn around. I think he just knows that he needs to make it stronger, one for all stronger, and it makes sure that Deku does have the resolve. And maybe that's what happened. He wasn't able to kill all for one. And that's what they're there for, to make sure he's willing and able to kill all for one.
I'm still supporting my theory on the third one, though. The T theory, the 4T theory.
I mean, we
What
know
is that?
Ida's from a line of I'll let you say it, Tyler.
What, the Tenya the time traveler?
Yeah, he asked what it was. I wanted to let you say Tinya the time traveler.
It was Tenya the time
Oh,
traveler.
nice. Okay, I get it. Nice. 4T. Good. Nice.
Yeah, the 4T theory. It's Ida with a man bun. Just look at the support item. Got an engine right next to him.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be Ida.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't have to be Ida though. This goes back to, and I know Loken doesn't like this one, but this one makes a lot of sense right here because Ida's from a line. It's made this point in the series to tell us that Ida's from a line of heroes, like throughout his family. You know,
Yeah, I
that
don't
was the
mind
birth of the
that.
Ida franchise.
I'm cool with the third user being in the line of the Ida family, but for them both to just be ancestors of, Bakugo's family line and everything, it's just like, okay, again, very anticlimactic to me. I'm just like, oh, it's just some relatives, cool. But
Yeah, well, who is the fifth holder? He's Lariat. He's some dude who had a quirk.
right, that we've seen, nothing's been hidden about him or mysterious or whatnot. Like
All
these
right,
two that have a
who's the
lot
fourth?
of mystery just shrouded around them. Again, we did get his name.
Well, I was talking about the fourth. We got everything about him at this point, but he was
Okay,
mysterious.
about that.
What about the cracks on his face? Remember all that? What
Right,
is the
and I
fourth
thought,
user?
well, I thought it was cool. His reason of why his death wasn't, was scratched out. I thought that was a legitimate and very reasonable reason. I was like, okay,
But
whoa, I
he was
didn't.
but he was just some dude you didn't know. Is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, all of them are people we didn't know really, but I'm just saying they don't have the same mystery shrouded around them as we do this second and third user.
Right. Well, that's true.
So I'm just saying there needs to be a legitimate and quite frankly badass reason as to why. And if it's only just because they're wanting to throw a little tantrum about Deku and whether or not he's worthy of being a holder for One for All, I'd be just to me, it's like that's real petty. But hopefully, I'm really hoping next week we can all will be revealed.
We disagree on almost everything. I think next week is back to reality. I think what we have is a situation where they don't like how soft-hearted Deku is. That's how they view Deku.
Mhm.
So they don't think he's the one. He's not the right guy because he's not going to do what needs to be done. I'm going to go ahead and say that I'll ride with the. I don't think it's Tinya, but I do think it's a someone in his family line. And the second user, I'm gonna say, is someone that isn't related to anybody. He has a crazy reason for not turning around that we don't know. But I don't think he's Bakugo. I don't think he's a relative of anybody. I'm just gonna say he's somebody we don't know. That's where I'm at today.
Okay.
I think the next chapter it's gonna be like a cliffhanger. They're gonna slowly turn around, and then uh, Deku's gonna wake up in the hospital dead. There's gonna be a big cliffhanger to know who they are. I feel like that's what's gonna happen next week.
I really hope not. But I can see that totally happening.
Just like a big cliffhanger. I'll just finalize my theories on who they are. Number 2 is Bakugo, and number 3 is Tenya, because he's the time traveler. That's all I'm gonna say.
Same. Well, Bakugo, and then we'll see who the third is. It would be cool though. I think it's a family member though in the Ida line.
So we agree on the third user, disagree on the second user.
Yep.
You and Tyler agree on the second user, but disagree on the third user. And Tyler and I disagree on both the second and third user. So we all have a different stance.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully one of us is right, right? Odds are in our favor.
Gotta be, right?
Cool. Well, anything else before we go? Tyler, you good?
Yeah, I'm
You
good.
want to say anything as a voter for for My Hero Madness? Do you want to say anything
Mount Lady's gonna win.
about Lady?
Yeah, Mount Lady's gonna win.
All right, go Mount Lady.
100%.